Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable. Listen, today we've got to talk about what's going on down in the dirty South, down in Atlanta, in my home state of Georgia, where Black liberal Democrats are being and doing precisely what Black liberal Democrats have always done. And that's be just like their former Democrat ancestors. They're KKK overseers of the old South, down in the Jim Crow South, that is. Y'all have heard me use this term, Jerome Crow, before. Well, I've got the prime example of Jerome Crow politics in action. Shout out to Shelly Winters of the Shelly Winters Show. I was on my phone scrolling this morning, and this story stopped me dead in my tracks. Let me explain to you about the Jerome Crow politics that's happening down here in Atlanta, and then we're going to talk about it.
So the story is this. Rick Jackson's running for governor. They called a restaurant owner, or the restaurant called Toast on Lenox. Mr. Jackson's going to come. The owner, which is an African-American woman. It's important to the story. Normally it doesn't matter, but it's important to the story. An African-American woman owns the restaurant. So she says, oh, wow, he's running for governor. I'd like to meet him. That's all she said. So Mr. Jackson came with his team. They all ate. They had a good time. The food was delicious. She came over, introduced herself, and they sat down and just talked. She talked to the man. She asked him questions. It was just a conversation. She didn't endorse him. She didn't say, I'm going to vote for you. She didn't hang a sign outside. She didn't do anything. She just had a conversation with one of two people running for governor as a business owner. Jackson's team posted it on there with he and her standing there. And he said, hey, I'm working for all Georgians, especially small business owners like Toast on Lenox. Great food, had a wonderful conversation. That's all he posted. Those who are supporting Keisha Lance Bottoms for governor are going after this woman and calling for people not to support her business anymore. This is the stupidest, craziest, most childish thing I've ever seen in my life. This woman has spent several years doing everything she can to start one location and then open up another location. She hires people. That's the most important thing. Many of those staffers might be college students who are working their way through school. Some of them may be single mothers who have to put food in their babies' mouths. But none of these so-called social influencers care about that. You don't really care about that community of which you claim to care so much about if you're willing to boycott a business owner simply for having a conversation with one of two people who may be running the state of Georgia after November. This woman doesn't deserve it. No one does. But she especially doesn't deserve it. She's worked too hard. So if you're listening to me right now, I'm going to do a shameless plug. Please, she's located at Lenox Mall and on 14th Street. If you're ever looking to have brunch, go to Toast on Lenox. And when you get there, say, sorry for what you're going through. I'm here to buy food. Because the service is good, the prices are good, and the food is on delicious times 10.
Let me explain to you guys what you just heard. Shelly summarizes what happened. The owner of Toast on Lenox, a restaurant owner who happens to be melanated, she's a Black woman, gets a call from the Rick Jackson campaign. Hey, we want to come by, get to know you. You know, I'm running for governor. She's like, great, I'd like to meet you. No endorsement. No, you're my guy. Just come, it's a public place. Come to the restaurant. Well, what did the Jerome Crow Negroes do when they found that out? Let me explain something to you about these darn Democrats. The melanated-minded Marxist Negroes down here in the South, they cannot win on policy. They cannot win on ideology. They have to win using the subjugation tactics of their former Democrat masters, the KKK paramilitary arm of the Democrat Party. It is still alive and well. They act just like their former ancestors and their former masters. And this is why y'all want to talk about going back to the Jim Crow South. It's already here. But instead, it's called Jerome Crow. It is Jim Crow in blackface. Let's think back to what the KKK used to do. If you were Black in the South or Republican in the South, or if you were white and you were unwilling to support the Democrat Party. You're like, I don't want to be a segregationist. I don't want to be a Dixiecrat. I just want small government. I don't want all this government overreach. I just want the government to do what it's supposed to do, keep these roads paved and make these trains run on time and leave me the heck alone. No. If you were in the South, there was virtually no Republican presence in the South post-Reconstruction and Jim Crow. And it's because of the KKK, Jim Crow tactics, where they would isolate you, where they would bully you, and most of all, shame you into submission. Explain to me how what supporters of the Keisha Lance Bottoms campaign, how is that any different? It's not. It is Jim Crow in blackface, and we call it Jerome Crow. That's why I call them Jerome Crow Negroes. You are not allowed to function in your freedom and ideologically make your own decisions and come to your own conclusions based off of fact finding and getting to know candidates on your own recognizance. No, you're not allowed to do that. Democrats have to subjugate and completely control, whether it's ideologically, politically, socially, economically, even spiritually. You are what they say you are. You support what they say you are allowed to support. Anything outside of their box and their paradigm, they're going to have to cut you. They have to shame you, and they gotta treat you like Toby, take you out and whoop you real good until you cry uncle and cry for mercy so that they can get up off you and leave you alone. That's what they try to do to the small business owner. Let me first say this. Do you know how difficult it is, particularly in a very challenging economic climate, especially here in Atlanta, to have not one business location, especially in the restaurant business with low margins, but two, Lenox Square Mall is prime real estate. That is a prime real estate location. This black woman has accomplished something that only a very small minority of individuals, black or white, have been able to accomplish. And she's got a location there, and she's got a location on 14th Street. But what did, I'll say allies, we won't say representatives of the Bottoms campaign, allies of the Bottoms campaign do? They started with the smear campaign. You need to boycott this business because she's not for us. She's not one of us. She let Rick Jackson, a gubernatorial candidate for governor who very well might win this state, she had the nerve to not be discriminatory and let him come to her restaurant and sit down for a discussion. Let me explain to you. I've owned a business in this state. It is incumbent upon any small business owner, regardless of political affiliation, for you to become intimately acquainted with your lawmakers, and especially if you get the opportunity to talk to the governor or governor-elect or just the candidates. You have concerns. The small business environment here in Atlanta is very volatile right now, and it is important that you get to know firsthand from the candidate, what is your plan to improve the small business environment? It's becoming increasingly more difficult to do business in this state. What kind of tax incentives do you have for us so we can create jobs and stimulate this economy? What is your plan to deal with the crime here in this state? We've been dealing with a lot of lawlessness. I'm here at Lenox Mall, Governor-elect Jackson. The crime is out of control, the smash and grabs, the YNs, the teen takeovers. I'm concerned about my business. I want to figure out, how do I earn more and then keep more of what I earn? Governor Jackson, what's your plan? So because this restaurant owner, this black woman, decided to sit and have a conversation, not an endorsement. She didn't do an infomercial. She did nothing other than have a conversation. These low-down, melanated-minded Marxist Negroes and these colored communists do what they always do. They take cues from the playbook of their KKK, their Democrat former masters, And they are simply doing what they've been trained to do. The very white supremacy that they hate and talk about, and it's always on the forefront of their mind. They engage in the same tactics. Oh, now we got to bully you. We got to show up to your business and let you know you messed up, sis. You let that man come and eat at your restaurant. You don't think we see you? Oh, now we're about to make your life a living hell. Don't tell me these people are not evil. For you to call for the boycott of a small business owner, I thought you were pro-black. No, I told y'all this blackness, it is not about this ethnicity and this melanin that you were clothed in. The blackness is a religion. It requires sacrifices. It requires your obedience. It demands worship. The idol of blackness is never satisfied, and you have to constantly give and feed it more. It demands your worship. It wants you to bow the knee, and you have to demonstrate to the watching world that you are all in and that your God is blackness. And it doesn't matter who you have to destroy, who you have to discredit. It doesn't matter how many jobs get lost. If a business has to suffer, this is what it demands. It wants you to pour out social libations for it. I told you these people were evil and wicked. But here's the good news. I've got friends who saw what allies, we'll call them, of the Bottoms campaign, what they did. They saw what they did and they said, you know what? We're not doing this. We're going to go and support what this small business owner is doing. And we're just going to go there and we're going to have a meal because that is really trifling what they tried to do. So what I want to do now is I want to share with you guys a video from a good friend of mine who decided to put her money where her mouth is and say, no, we're not going to let you do that to this restaurant owner that's real trifling and suspect. Take a look at this video. That's my girl, Angela. Shout out to you, Angela. I love her post where she said, I think toast on Lenox is going to be okay. You can't cancel good food in the South. Let me tell you how down for the cause. And when I talk about the cause, I ain't talking about the power to the people cause. I'm talking about just good old fashioned American ingenuity and American heritage and just loving this country is my girl, Angela. I've known Angela and we've been affiliated with one another for several years. We've walked and worked alongside one another in Blexit. We've done community cleanups together. We've done town halls. Wherever there is an event that she's all in. And I love her because we've labored alongside one another. And I've just seen the passion and the love that she has for this country. And she will come down to Metro Atlanta from all the way, I'm going to call it North Jerusalem. I ain't going to put your business out there, sis, and say where you live, but it's north of the Metro. She will come down and support, and it has nothing to do with your color or ethnicity. It is all about the worldview and the ideology. And that's why I love Angela. But I'm glad that she did this video. You know why? Because the restaurant was busy. It was bustling, full of vibrancy and life, which is something that the melanated-minded Marxist Negro hates. The colored communists cannot stand success based on merit. They cannot have you win. Because if you win, they lose. So what they have to do is try to separate and divide you and make you feel as if you've done something wrong just because I told you it's no different than on the plantation. When you had that one slave that was just kind of thinking about, just ruminating what freedom might be like. And they may have told another slave, you know, I've been pondering freedom and I looked over yonder and I saw an opportunity to run. I don't know, I haven't made my decision if I'm a run yet, but I'm thinking about conjuring up a plan to escape here. Are you in? The slave-minded Negro, just like the Jerome Crow Negro in the Democrat Party, they're like, oh, you thinking about running? Tell me more. Tell me more about your escape plan. And what they're doing, because they're an ethnic narcissist, they're taking in information. They're not taking it in to gain comprehension and understanding. They're taking in this info because they're going to use it against you. That's what the melanated-minded Marxist Negro does. The colored communist is fact-finding and taking in information because the goal is to weaponize it against you. When they find out that you're thinking about running, they go ahead and they call. They call them hounds, the dogs that sniff you out. And then they signal to the other colored communists that, look, we got a runner. I don't know when she's thinking about running, but when we get through with her, she ain't going to think about running no more. They did the same thing to that barbershop owner that hosted that when Byron Donalds and the other conservatives went into the barbershop just to have that debate and they whipped him back into submission. They're trying to do the same thing with this restaurant owner. They sent the goons out with the smear campaign. They sent their flying monkeys out to try to disparage and shame this woman for having a discussion with an opposing candidate. You know why? Because when you're black, the Democrat believes that they ideologically own you. You are the electoral serf. You don't get to just walk away without it costing you something. You don't get to think for yourself without you fighting for your life. I'm going to tell you this. This is an uphill battle. If you are ethnically black and you historically voted Democrat, it takes a special kind of courage and a special kind of strength that only God can give you for you to break away from the group and decide that you are going to run away. The weak-minded person who hasn't figured out that functioning their freedom is the best thing for them, and they're thinking about the cost of, if I run, they're going to come after me and they're going to come after my business. They're going to try to destroy my life. You have to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And you have to decide, I'm not letting y'all drag me down to the pit. I don't want your sexual perversion. I don't want your government education and indoctrination. I don't want any of that. Your trans agenda, your open border policy, your mass abortion and genocide agenda. I don't want any of that. I don't want your free handouts and your government dependence. I want economic freedom. I want to do for myself. I want to do like this restaurant owner did and have a vision and a dream and invest in herself to offer something valuable to the marketplace that is adding value. Did you see all those people in that restaurant sitting down eating her food? The colored communists, your Keisha Lance Bottoms and those of that ilk, they can't stand that. That is the purest representation of what it means to function in your freedom. That scares the Democrat. That scares the Jerome Crow Negro. Because they're like, wait a minute. They don't need us. The ethnic narcissist has to feel needed. And when they fear that you don't need them and that you can stand on your own 2 feet and function in your freedom, they crash out. This is what's called a narcissistic injury. The ethnic narcissist is injured anytime you decide to think for yourself and to stand on your own 2 feet and to do what you want to do. I told y'all the Democrats believe the blacks, you are their electoral serf, and they will do whatever they can to destroy your life to make sure you never forget it. And you got to be strong, because the weak will bend the knee and bow and fold. But if you are here in Atlanta, you go and you visit Toast on Lenox and you tip real good and you let them know that conservatives, we don't believe in cancel culture. We believe that if you are an American and you want to lay claim to your American heritage and you want to lay claim to your American birthright, that it is your right to open up your business and to serve whoever you want and to engage in any discussion and conversation that you want, and that the Jerome Crow Negroes scare nobody. These people are so weak and so evil and so wicked that they have to engage in Jerome Crow politics like this because they can't win on ideas. Their ideas are trash, along with their outcomes are trash. Keisha Lance Bottoms is a washed up one-term mayor that destroyed this city. And that chick thought she could just come back, raise some money after working for the brain dead Joe Biden. She thought she could come back to Georgia, throw her hat in the governor's race, and just win because she's black and a woman. No, ma'am. We already know that you are incompetent, you do not know what you're doing, and you will usher this city down to the pit. We will be in the whole state, forget the city. The state will be in a deficit as opposed to a surplus. You will raise taxes on us, and we will be so ideologically perverse that folks will start fleeing the South, going to Alabama or Tennessee or Florida just to escape the wrath that is coming if this woman were to win. So this is not an endorsement of the Rick Jackson campaign, but I can absolutely tell you, I know who I'm voting for. And I plan, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to extend an invite to the Rick Jackson campaign. I want to talk to this candidate who was born in the projects on Techwood in Atlanta, whose mama had all of these stepdaddies. Like, he's from the mud and built himself up to be the success that he is today. His story deserves to be told. But nobody deserves to have their business destroyed because the colored communists can't win based on policy. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Are you shocked that representatives of the Keisha Lance Bottoms campaign pulled a stunt like this? I told you these Jerome Crow Negroes was evil. This is what they do. They are just like their Democrat ancestors. The very white supremacy that they talk about, that they claim they hate, they embody the very spirit of those same people. They love their master. They get it from their pappy. They get it from their pappy. I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.